Hi, I'm Brandon Braun. I'm the transition expert with Life Cycle Transitions. This is another episode of the Transition Expert. Today, I'm out in Chicopee, Mass, and we're going to be doing a tour of a client's home for their family to see if we can explore some options on what to do and how to do it and what's the best direction for the family to explore. Today, I'm going to walk through. You're going to see the home and obviously get an idea as to what we're up against, but also get a visual aid as to some of the options that many of our clients that run into these situations see firsthand. Come join. So what we're going to be looking at when we go into these situations is the condition of the actual home. You know, obviously this house has been in the family for about 20 years. You know, the carpet, has some wear and tear, as you can see. But the walls, believe it or not, the walls in this area seem to be in pretty good shape. I mean, obviously a fresh coat of paint couldn't hurt, but doesn't look like there's any damages to the walls. You don't see any indentations, any puncture holes, any holes from pictures or frames or things that may have been put up. So it's not bad. All right, so we're now entering the kitchen area. One thing that stands out above all things is you begin to see the mice droppings. The moment you see those mice droppings, you know that the environment has been infested with obviously mice, rodents. Mice droppings are very dangerous for a number of reasons, particularly because mice carry a number of viruses such as Hantavirus, MRSA, you name it. Unfortunately, a lot of my older clients and clients in general that are susceptible to living in this condition, unbeknownst to them, are putting their health in grave danger by exposing themselves in this condition. And as you know, mice tend to be attracted to clutter. You know, it gives them a nice safe haven. Kitchen appears to be, pretty big for the size of the house. Rather outdated. I mean, the cabinets would obviously need to be replaced. The yellow paint will, definitely be wanting to be improved by coming up with a more neutral palette. But the layout of the kitchen isn't bad at all. I mean, just needs new cabinets, new countertops, new appliances, new flooring, things like that. You can see the little mice critters just walking through. All right, so we're gonna go down the bathroom area here now. Nice hallway. I mean, you don't see a lot of hallways with this much depth anymore. Most of the hallways you see nowadays are pretty small. So to see a hallway this small, this big, is pretty encouraging. Bathroom, yet again, is not bad, but pretty dated. I would say nothing's been done in here in at least the last 20, 30 years, maybe 20 years or so. New vanity, new mirror, new toilet, changing the light fixture, doing something different in here to freshen the place up is going to make a huge difference. Even, maybe installing a walk-in shower, something a little bit more updated, changing the linoleum floor to a ceramic floor also is another touch. Even linoleum now, 20 years later, has gotten a lot better. So you'll see a lot of improvement with just making some subtle changes to keep it up to par with things that have been done in the last 3-5 years. All right, another bedroom. It's a pretty simple bedroom. Obviously fresh coat of paint. Floors obviously need to be redone. It's not uncommon that you see people put linoleum on top of hardwood. You rip that up and you have this wood here. All it requires is some refinishing. But obviously, we follow the trends, and at some point 20, 30 years ago, maybe in the 90s, linoleum was, the thing to do. So people just sort of put linoleum over hardwood. Just have to make the wood a little darker to blend it in. But a fresh coat of paint, change the light fixtures, it's all you really need in this room. But now we get to the thick of it, which is the hallway. And this is where you begin to see the original area. Some of the other rooms had been sort of cleaned up a little bit so that we can walk through. I always explain to clients that ask me before I arrive in the property, do you want me to start to deal with the cleaning it up and moving things around? And my advice to them is always ask a homicide detective if you want them to come in and move things around before they get there. And the answer is going to be no. For me, a lot of what we do is focused around intentionality. So we want to take from this environment what is taken from our clients, which in more cases than not is to encourage a sound mind making sound decisions, but to understand why you do what you do and why you've done what you do so we can understand how to reverse it. So not touching anything, not disturbing anything, not moving anything works to our advantage because it allows us to be able to see how you actually lived in real life. So we can understand how some of these problems occurred, how you began to stack things, put things in certain areas, how the clothes became a little bit more for you to be able to manage. And then we can understand as we're putting things back to a normal state, how we can avoid some of those things by making sure we come up with a system that's functionable, but more importantly, that's sustainable. So this is another room. So this is the master bedroom, if you will. You know, obviously you can see where the accumulation began, where the hoarding initially started. In this case, I really can't make a rhyme or reason of what the hoarding tendency was. I mean, this isn't necessarily a trash hoard. It looks like it was just negligence over a period of time, just not putting things where they needed to be, overbuying, over accumulating, but placement, lack of placement skills was probably a number one deterrent in this case, because it didn't allow for them to be able to understand, okay, we don't have any place to put this. So in more cases than not, this particular situation would put a person in a state of mind where they just put things alongside the walls, put things next to the bed, and before they knew it, 3, 5, 6 months, going into a year, 2 years, 3 years, it's gotten out of hand and you just don't know where to place anything. So you just sort of make every room like this a catch-all. There's a lot of miscellaneous things in here, but again, clutter eliminates functionality. And as you can see, there's a bed here, but there's clutter, you know, so you can only imagine the usefulness of this room, and being able to really function in here was very limiting. And then you go into rooms like this, you know, your house tells you more about you than any other facet in your life. You go into a room like this and it sort of tells you what area of the house you spend the most time, and of course what area in the house you spend the least amount of time. In this room, you can tell was an area that was underutilized, and which is probably why it's in the most immaculate shape. So this is probably how the entire house was at one point or another, but over a period of time, as you can see, you know, things began to decline. So we've just completed the final walkthrough and did a tour of the home, room for room, got a general understanding as to what we're up against. Now the tough part begins. Now we begin to evaluate what the best course of options are. How do we go about doing this? Do we fix the house up? Do we renovate it? Do we encourage the client to possibly sell the home as is? What's owed on the home? Being able to put all these factors together is a large part of what I do every single day. In 30 days for sure, this place, the family, the transition will be complete. Another episode of The Transition Expert. Please stay tuned.